everyone, welcome back to my class. This is Rumana Ali. I hope you all are doing well. In today's class, I'm going to start a chapter and the name of our chapter is Microbes in Human Welfare. So in this chapter, we are going to discuss about all these topics that are microbes in household products, microbes in industrial products, microbes in sewage treatment, microbes in production of biogas, microbes as biocontrol agents, microbes as biofertilizers, and the challenges that are posed by the microbes. So all these are the benefits that we get from the microorganisms. We know that microorganisms are the tiny creatures that exist on the earth, and some microorganisms are beneficial and some are harmful for the human being. So in this chapter we are going to discuss about the benefits or the uses of microorganisms for the human welfare. So let us start the first subtopic, that is microbes in household products. So let us discuss about the applications of microorganisms in the production of household products. So first we'll discuss about the lactobacillus, or it is also termed as lactic acid bacteria, that is LAB. This lactobacillus or lactic acid bacteria is a type of bacteria which helps in the conversion of milk to curd. We know that milk can be converted into curd. So how it happens, how the curdling takes place? Curdling can take place only when the microorganisms or only when the lactobacillus bacteria will be present in the milk. So bacteria needs optimum temperature. So whenever we want to change milk into curd, we need to boil it or we need to heat the milk till it reaches the optimum temperature. Optimum temperature may be from 34 to 40 degrees centigrade. So this is the optimum temperature where the lactobacillus bacteria can be grown well, and if this exceeds, then milk cannot undergoes the process of curdling. If the milk do not heat at optimum temperature or when it does not reaches the optimum temperature, at that time also the curdling doesn't take place. So the optimum temperature is very essential for the curdling process, and after the heating of the milk, we need to add inoculum into it. Inoculum is nothing but a dose or small amount of bacteria. So after heating the milk, when we add inoculum into that, inoculum is nothing but a dose or a spoon of bacteria, lactic acid bacteria. After we add that bacteria into the milk, then that bacteria undergoes repeated division. It divides rapidly and then the milk can be converted into curd. So this is how the bacteria helps in conversion of milk into curd, and inoculum plays a major role in the curdling process. This is how the milk can be converted into curd and curdling takes place. Now, one question is, which item, curd or milk, which item will be more easily digestible? So when we compare the properties of digestion of these two food items, then curd will be easily digestible because half amount of the digestion is going to be takes place by the bacteria itself. So curd can be easily digestible when compared to the milk, and this curd contains an important vitamin, that is vitamin B12. Name of the vitamin B12 is cyanocobalamin. This vitamin B12 is present in the curd. So we can get this vitamin B12 by having curd. This is how the lactobacillus or the lactic acid bacteria helps in the curdling process, where we can convert the milk into curd, and curd is very beneficial for the human consumption as it is a rich source of vitamin B12. The next application of microbes in household products is in the bacterial fermentation. In the lower classes, we have already discussed about the process of fermentation. So in anaerobic respiration, when glucose breaks down by the microbial action into ethanol, then this process is called as fermentation. When the glucose gets converted into ethanol in the absence of oxygen, that is anaerobic respiration, then this type of anaerobic respiration can be termed as fermentation, and it is carried out only in the presence of microbes. Microbes are the main organisms that acts on the glucose, breaks the glucose into ethanol, and during this process one gas is released, and that gas is carbon dioxide. So due to the production of the carbon dioxide during the process of fermentation, dough can be created. We have already seen in our daily food items, like in making dosa, idli or vada, dough needs to be prepared and it becomes fluffy only when the carbon dioxide is produced. So in this process of bacterial fermentation, if we add a spoon of yeast in the preparation of all these food items, then the dough can be created, and that dough becomes fluffy when more amount of the carbon dioxide is produced. So due to the production of the carbon dioxide, the dough becomes fluffy, and we can easily make all the different food items that requires dough. So in this way, in preparing the food items like idli, vada and dosa and many other food items also, the microorganisms are playing an important role, and also in the process of fermentation. Let us see the other application of microorganisms or other role of microbes in household products, and that is baker's yeast, especially Saccharomyces cerevisiae. So this is the yeast, Saccharomyces cerevisiae, and this yeast helps in making breads by dough fermentation. So this is how the different microorganisms are useful in making the different household products. So lactobacillus is a bacteria that helps in the conversion of milk into curd, and that curd is a rich source of vitamin B12. And bacterial fermentation is a process where the glucose can be broken down by the microorganisms, and during this breakdown carbon dioxide gas is released, and due to the production of the carbon dioxide gas, the dough can be made, and that dough becomes fluffy due to this production of carbon dioxide, and it makes the food and it makes the taste of the food better. The next one is baker's yeast. Here we will take one example, and the example of the yeast is Saccharomyces cerevisiae. It is a form of yeast which is used in making breads by dough fermentation. So these are some of the uses of microbes in household products. Let us discuss about the microbes in industrial products. Here, when the microbes are used in the different industries, so to grow that microbes in an industry, fermenters are used. Fermenters are the long vessels in which the microorganisms are grown, and after the growth of the microorganisms, that microbes can be used in the preparation of beverages. That means in the preparation of some juices, and some alcohols can be prepared, and also the production of antibiotics can take place by the action of microbes in the different industries. Let us see the production of beverages first. So we all know that fermentation is a process by which the alcohol can be produced, in which the sugar molecules are broken down by the action of microorganisms, and it results in the formation of alcohol and also releases carbon dioxide. So alcohols are of different types, and that are wines. We'll take some examples here. Wines and whiskey, brand, all these kind of alcohols can be prepared, all these kind of beverages can be prepared by the action of microbes in the industries. And these wines are the beverages that can be prepared without distillation. And these two types of beverages like whiskey and brand, they can be prepared by the distillation of fermented broth. So in the preparation of beverages, yeast can be used, and this yeast is called as brewer's yeast and can also be termed as Saccharomyces cerevisiae. This is called as brewer's yeast, and it is used in making breads or in the preparation of beverages also. This yeast helps in fermenting the fruit juices and also the malted cereals. So when the fermentation takes place by using the items like fruit juices or malted cereals, when it gets fermented, it converted into some beverages. In this way, the preparation of beverages takes place by the action of the microorganism called brewer's yeast. The other use of microorganism is in the production of antibiotics. Antibiotics, as the name itself indicates, anti means against and biotics means bacteria. So whatever the substances that acts against the bacteria or that inhibits the growth of bacteria, that kind of substances are called as antibiotics. And for the production of antibiotics also, we require microorganisms, and as we need the antibiotics in a larger amount, then that large scale production can be done only in the industry. So microbes in the industrial products also includes the production of antibiotics. Here antibiotics can be prepared by using the different kinds of microbes in the industries, and these antibiotics are used to treat different diseases like plague, diarrhea, plague, whooping cough, diphtheria or leprosy. These kind of diseases can be treated by having antibiotics, and antibiotics are the chemical substances that inhibits the growth of bacteria. By inhibiting the growth of bacteria, they help in treating the different kinds of diseases. The first antibiotic that came into existence or that was discovered by a scientist named Alexander Fleming. He observed the different petri plates that were kept in his observation in his own laboratory. So when he observed all these petri dishes or all these petri plates, then he identified one petri plate which do not show the growth of bacteria in it, because in that petri dish or in that petri plate he found the growth of fungus. So that fungus is not allowing the bacteria to grow in that plate, and that fungus is releasing a chemical substance, and due to the release of that chemical substance, the bacterial growth is inhibiting or the bacterial growth gets stopped. So he extract that chemical substance from that fungus, and the name of that fungus was Penicillium notatum, and the chemical which was extracted from this fungus is named as penicillin, which is used as an antibiotic to treat the different infections. This was the first antibiotic that was discovered by a person or by the scientist named Alexander Fleming. In this way, the discovery of the antibiotics is done, and the antibiotics are nothing but these are the chemical substances that retards the growth of the bacteria or that retards the growth of the other microorganisms. Okay, let us talk about the chemical enzymes and other bioactive molecules. So here the organic acids are the acids that are produced by the different microorganisms. Certain examples are given here. Aspergillus niger is a microbe that produces citric acid. Clostridium butylicum is also a microorganism that produces butyric acid, and lactobacillus produces lactic acid. All these organic acids are beneficial in one or the other way. For example, citric acid is used in making pickles, that is in preserving the different food materials. It acts as a preservative, and lactic acid is an acid that helps in the process of curdling. Milk can be converted into curd by the release of lactic acid or by the presence of lactic acid. So in this way, all these organic acids are beneficial for the human beings, and these are produced on a large scale in industries. The next one is enzymes. Enzymes are also produced by the different microorganisms. The enzymes which are produced by the different microorganisms, they are also useful in carrying out the different activities. So the first enzyme is lipases. We all know that lipases are the enzymes that helps in digesting lipids, or lipids are the oily substances. So they help in digesting the lipids. If we get the stains on our clothes when we have some oily or the lipid containing food, then if we get the stain on our clothes, then that stain can be removed by the enzymes called lipases. So the lipases are the enzymes that are used in preparing different detergents, and these detergents can be used to remove that oily stains from the laundry. This is how the lipases enzymes functions. The next one is pectinases and proteases. The pulp of the fruits and vegetables are made up of a substance called pectin. This pectin can be digested by the enzyme called pectinases, and proteins can be digested by the enzyme called proteases. So this pectinases and proteases are used in clarifying the bottles, juice bottles. For example, some of the juices contain pulp in that, and some are free of that pulp. So the juices which do not contain any pulp of the fruits, their juices were treated by the enzymes called pectinases and proteases. So these are the enzymes that absorbs or that digest all the pulp which will be present in that juices. So we can get pulp free juices by adding the pectinases and proteases in that juice bottle. The next enzyme is streptokinase, which is produced by the microbe Streptococcus. Streptokinase is an enzyme that helps in preventing the blood clot. It is also called as clot buster. So when a person gets myocardial infection, that means heart attack, then to that person, firstly the doctors gives the injection that contains streptokinase enzyme in that. In this way, streptokinase is an enzyme which acts as a clot buster and helps in treating the myocardial infection. The next enzyme is cyclosporin A, which can also be replaced by the enzyme called cortisol. These two are the enzymes that are produced by the microbe Trichoderma polysporum. These enzymes are used as an immunosuppressive agent. So how it acts as an immunosuppressive agent? So here we'll take one example. When a person goes through the organ transplantation, then after the organ transplantation is done in the body of that patient, the organ which has been replaced, the different substances that are present in the body of a patient, they think that this one is a new substance and they start to fight against that substance. Now to suppress that activity, the enzymes like cyclosporin A or cortisol can be used as an immunosuppressive agent. So as our body is rejecting that transplanted organ, that process is called as graft rejection. To treat this condition, the enzymes like cortisol or cyclosporin A can be used. The next enzyme is statins. Statins are the enzymes that are produced by Monaskis purpureus. These are the enzymes that are used as blood cholesterol lowering agents. This is a blood vessel and here is the lumen present, and around which this cholesterol or the fat molecules get stuck to the walls of these blood vessels. If they get stuck to the walls of the blood vessel, then the lumen becomes shortened, and if it gets suppressed, the blood circulation will become high. Blood circulation becomes higher and higher. That leads to a condition called hypertension. To reduce this hypertension condition, we can use the enzymes like statins, because statins are the enzymes that can be used as blood cholesterol lowering agent. It helps in lowering the cholesterol level of our blood. So these are the different enzymes that are produced by the different microorganisms and are very beneficial. Lipases are used in detergents to remove the stains. Pectinases and proteases are helping to clarify the bottled juices. Streptokinase is an enzyme which acts as a clot buster and helps in preventing blood clotting during myocardial infection or in the myocardial infection patients. The next one is cyclosporin A or cortisol. These are the enzymes that are produced by the Trichoderma polysporum and can be used as immunosuppressive agent. Statins are also the enzymes that are produced by Monascus purpureus. These enzymes are used as blood cholesterol lowering agents. So this is how the microorganisms are helping in producing the different organic acids and enzymes that are very beneficial for the human being. That's all for today. Thank you.